Welcome to the Bible Unlocked. My name is Jonathan, and today I want to share a very common but profound topic with you in the Bible. David and Goliath, the hidden lesson most people miss. How could a young shepherd defeat a giant warrior that terrified an entire army? Have you thought about it? Well, let's dive into it. The story of David and Goliath is one of the most famous stories in the Bible, but many people miss the deeper truths within it. Because the real battle was not just between David and Goliath, it was a battle between fear and faith. Now, let's critically look at the situation. The story takes place in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17. At that time, Israel was at war with the Philistines. The two armies stood on opposite hills with a valley between them. Every day, a giant warrior named Goliath came out of the Philistine camp. Goliath was over 9 feet tall. He wore heavy bronze armor and carried powerful weapons. His spear alone was massive. Standing before the army of Israel, he shouted a challenge. He said, "Choose a man to come down and fight me. If you defeat me, we will become your servants. But if I defeat him, you will serve us." Here is what gets interesting. For 40 days, Goliath came out every morning and every evening, and each time he spoke, the entire army of Israel was terrified. Even King Saul was afraid. No one dared to fight him. Meanwhile, David was still young, and he was still a young shepherd. His father Jesse sent him to the battlefield to bring food to his older brothers. When David arrived, he heard the giant shouting his challenge, and David was shocked. He asked the soldiers, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that should defy the armies of the living God?" Now listen, while everyone else saw a giant too powerful to defeat, David saw a man who was defying God. That difference in perspective changed everything. Now, the first hidden lesson. Everyone else looked at the problem, but David looked at God. Fear focuses on the size of the giant, but faith focuses on the greatness of God. Here comes the voluntary of David. When David said he would fight the giant, people thought he was crazy. Even King Saul doubted him. Saul said, "You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David explained something powerful. He said, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep, I ran after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth." David had already faced dangerous battles before, and in those hidden moments, God had been preparing him. Now, the second hidden lesson. This is getting very interesting. David's victory over Goliath did not begin on the battlefield. It began in the quiet fields where no one was watching. The battles you win in private prepares you for the victories people will see in public. Now, something dramatically happened. Because David refuses Saul's armor. King Saul offered David his royal armor, but David refused. The armor was heavy and unfamiliar. Instead, David took 5 smooth stones from a stream and took his sling. This may seem strange, but David was choosing what he already knew how to use. Now, the third hidden lesson. Sometimes people try to fight their battles using someone else's methods, but God often uses what is already in your hands. David's sling looked small, but in God's hands, it was more than enough. Now, let's go to the battlefield. When Goliath saw David approaching, he laughed. He mocked him. He said, "Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks?" And David responded with a powerful words. He said, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." That was the difference. David was not trusting his weapon. He was trusting God. David ran towards the giant. He placed a stone in his sling and released it. Now, the stone flew through the air and struck Goliath in the forehead. The giant fell to the ground. And just like that, the giant who terrified an entire army was defeated by a shepherd boy. This is insane. Now, here is the deeper revelation. David did not defeat Goliath because he was stronger. He defeated Goliath because he believed God was greater than the giant. Everyone else measured the giant, but David measured God. How do we see the practicality of this in our lives today? You know, even today, people face giants in their lives. Giants of fears, giants of rejection, giants of failures, giants of impossible situation. But the story of David reminds us that giants do not determine the outcome. Faith does. What looks impossible to people is never impossible to God. This is the final revelation. David's story teaches us something very powerful. The real giants in life are not always the enemy standing in front of us. Sometimes the real giant is the fear inside us. And when faith replaces fear, even the biggest giant can fall. The conclusion. David was not chosen because he was strong. He was not chosen because he looked like a king. He was chosen because he trusted God. And that is the hidden truth behind the story of David and Goliath that we may have never thought of. If you want to continue discovering hidden truths and deeper lessons from the Bible, subscribe to the Bible Unlocked and turn on the notification bell so that you don't just miss an upload. And guys, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. And family, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section.